Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to study about the subject that is Animal Diversity 3. In that Unit 3 is Introduction to Subphylum Vertebrata, and in that Introduction to General Characters of Division-Agnatha, in that petromyzon and myxine examples were included. As we know that phylum Chordata is divided into two, that is Acraniata and the craniata. Okay, again this craniata means the organism with the brain box or the cranium is divided into only one subphyla. That subphyla is vertebrates, and this vertebrata again divided into two division, that is agnatha and gnathostomata. Okay, as we know that the general characters of the division agnatha, a means absent or not, gnathas means jaws. These are the earliest vertebrate without true jaws, and paired appendages are absent. The agnathans that shows the body form was fish-like, usually flattened dorsoventrally, with huge head and the gill region tapering with the muscular trunk and some sort of tail fins. They had no jaws and no pectoral or the pelvic fin, but they had only median fins. These earliest vertebrate were bony and heavily armored. The body of the bony plates and the scales of the ostracoderms were well preserved. Again, here in this, the head was covered in a solid shield that is made up of broad bony dermal plate, while the rest of body is surrounded by a series of smaller plates, often called as dermal scale, and this had led to their name, that is ostracoderms, that is armored fishes or the bony skin animals. As we know that here the brain is primitive and skull is unique and difficult to homologize. As we know that the head is covered in a solid shield made up of broad bony dermal plates. That's why the skull is difficult to homologize. What is meant by homologize? Make or show to have a same relation or relative position or the structure. So we cannot compare this skull with the other skull. So here in the next point, that is vertebral column is poorly developed because there are no centra. It is a plural noun. And centrum, you can see here in this diagram. So centrum is the body. Okay, here the centrum, the solid part of the vertebra to which the arches and the processes are attached. Again, notochord persists permanently. That the organism, the adult organism that shows the notochord. Okay, the division Agnatha is divided into two classes, that is Ostracodermi and Cyclostomata. Ostrons means the scale, derma means the skin. Here in the Cyclostomata, cyclos means the circular, stoma means the mouth. Here again in the class Ostracoderms, you can see these ostracoderms included several extinct order of ancient primitive heavily armored Paleozoic words first vertebrate collective called as collectively called as ostracoderms. Why it is important? So the ostracoderms, they are remote ancestor of all vertebrate including man. Okay, so here the example is Cephalopsis. So this is the extinct fishes. So the ostracoderm is the order that shows or that includes the extinct fishes. Okay, again the next is Cyclostomata. You can see the Cyclostomata, cyclos means the circular and stoma means the mouth. The body is ill-shaped without scale, jaws and the lateral fins. As we seen that in ostracodermy, the body is covered with the bony scale or bony scales are there, but here the body is without scales. Okay, and they have round bodies with laterally compressed. Okay, again the skin is soft and it is devoid of the that is scale, and paired appendages are absent, but the median fins are present and that is supported by cartilaginous fin rays. As we know that endoskeleton is endoskeleton is lacking, but the endoskeleton is cartilaginous with no bones, and vertebral column is primitive. Here the vertebral column is primitive. Mouth is rounded and the suctorial gills are 5 to 16. These organisms are parasitic, that is they depend on their food for the others, and the scavengers are the organism, they feed on dead remainings of the animal. Here you can see in this diagram, so the petromyzon, so the body is ill, like you can see here the caudal fins are there. Again in second diagram you can see the suctorial or the rounded mouth is there. In the cyclostomata, example is myxine, you can see this Atlantic hagfish, the suctorial mouth is there and mouth that shows the barbs. Again the caudal fin is present.